Thanks for the invitation, and I'm happy to share some of the experience that we had in transforming our campus, and we're still doing it. I hope you can see my screen. If not, just tell me so. Otherwise, I assume that you can see it very well. So I'm actually sitting on this campus right now. This is the building here, and I'm sitting there where my mouse pointer is right now. So that's the office I'm in right now. Um, our campus is it's part of the University of Applied Sciences in Cologne, but we have our own campus in Gummersbach, which is about 50 kilometers away, and we are just one faculty here. So that means we have a little more freedom in making decisions, how we do our spaces, and I will just share some of these things. So actually, when I talk about the campus, I'm thinking about the physical presence here being on site, but how we can connect that seamlessly with the digital world. And you will see that in a lot of slides. I think the campus, not only in our location, but everywhere, is actually changing. You see, there's a lot of collaboration. There's more project work. I totally agree with the presentations that we have seen earlier. That it's actually that we don't want to sit just row by row and observe and just listen. The real power of being on the campus is starting collaborations, because everything else works pretty well with digital tools at the moment as well. So I will focus on three parts. I have the name or the uh, word pattern in my title. Patterns are good practices. And we use that for planning, but also for learning about what other universities have been doing. I will present some patterns for the actual spaces that we created, and also show some pictures how the educational scenarios work out there. So let's start with design patterns, what they are. So I'm not an architect. I'm actually from the field of computer science. So yes, maybe I do computer architecture or software architecture, but we use a lot of the works from Christopher Alexander, who has written this book with some colleagues more than um, 50 years ago almost. And they have looked out for existing problems that occur again and again, and we're looking for solutions that they could use again and again. And so we were actually looking out for many different solutions that exist and how we could use them to build new spaces on our campus, and also to think about why the decisions that we do, or the designs that we are using for our spaces, why they're actually working. So not just making these things because the digital tools offer so much more. We also always want to understand how is it changing actually the interaction between students and teachers and external partners. So we're actually going on educational safaris. So we're visiting other places that we find inspiring, make pictures of it. We Here's some examples that we identified a lot of open spaces at universities that invite collaboration. We found cozy places that invite learning. We also liked places where there was a certain degree of playfulness that opened up our minds. And yeah, so we were using this kind of patterns. We were collecting them, trying to see, well, what do we see again and again, and we were using this to actually plan the spaces on our campus. So this is in German, obviously, but what you can see here is we had a lot of mood boards that showed how we wanted to have that, and then we were defining what are the primary functions and the secondary functions that we hope what will happen in these spaces. Hopefully even more than we were planning, but we were thinking about what is the main activity or activities actually that we want to encourage students to do in these different spaces. Well, of course, it's not just planning on paper. We try to prototype as much as we can. So when we have a space that we want to transform, we're not just doing that on paper. We actually go into that space and think about what can we do. So you use cardboard boxes to get an idea of what should be the right dimensions. Then we improve the prototypes. Then we find some stuff that looks like it actually, and step by step we put in some technology in there, and only then we start with 3D models, and finally we have a space that is equipped with, in this case, interactive whiteboards, a large table in the center of the room that you act as a stage for ideation. And so this prototyping process, it gives us the opportunity to let students also participate, give feedback what they like, and have actually an experience before we invest too much money into the room, and it makes it possible for us to experiment with different setups. Also, participation is really important for us to see what students would like to see. So we were running some educational hackathons where students were using Lego bricks, where they could express what they were hoping to find on campus. And we will continue that in the next term when more students will be on campus again. But it also goes down to the level there where we had students actually make decisions about what kind of basement do you want, right? So what would be what kind of wallpapers do you want to see? Another form that we will run in the summer is an unconference, a bar camp where students just can make a spontaneous presentation and share their ideas and hopes, what they want to see. And of course, we also run a lot of projects where students actually design these spaces and have to do research. What are the forces? What are the requirements to make these to have new spaces that make more use of both the physical space for more collaboration, and also to incorporate digital tools in that. So what kind of patterns did we find? I think some examples of what kind of spaces we will have see more and more in the future are innovation spaces, design studios, more and more maker spaces, and of course, you've seen maker spaces already at many universities, and that's the trick about patterns. We try to find things that already exist and try to use them on our campus as well. So how do these spaces look like? We have hybrid design studios. You see there's a lot of there are screens there, but there are also building blocks, digital building blocks that students can work with. We try to use building blocks that are low threshold for, or provide an easy entry level for students who have no technical background as well. We try to use technology to have more galleries to show other students what's possible, to inspire, to have presentations on open spaces. We also experimented with having an educational pop-up store or pop-up space, actually in a shopping mall where we were running workshops and courses, and people could just, as you see here in the background, these are just visitors of the shopping mall, and they can see what are the activities, and they can actually come in, provide feedback to students. Students can show their design mock-ups, their apps to not only their friends, we always have a bias, but actually to people who are just passing by.
I think we're losing Christian. Can you still hear us? It's breaking. Okay, he's gone. Camila, Igor, I guess. Okay,
Oh,
you're back.
I'm
I
still
think
there.
we were. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
we'll we were using losing you, so probably you need
Okay.
to share again, and then we just continue.
Okay. So when did you
Thank you.
when did you lose me here?
I think a bit before when you talked about the mall, but that
Oh,
was
okay.
basically covered, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so
Okay.
you can probably go to the next one then.
Okay. Okay. I
Cool.
think that was the physical mute button I pushed. Anyway, so yeah, so that gives us an opportunity that real people can provide feedback. And what we see here is, yeah, small project boxes where students can sit down with their laptops or tablets, and we need to, yeah, equip these places with power, of course, and people can sit there, use it as learning cinemas. So if we have our lectures as streams ready, I don't think that students should always sit at home and just watch there alone. They should actually meet on campus, watch it whenever they want, but then start a discussion about it. So that's one example of the scenarios that we hope to see, that are enabled through these spaces where we integrate digital tools. One example is hybrid collaboration, where you see our students, they start working in the physical space with sticky notes, but then you also see there's an interactive whiteboard, and you can use your smartphone, connect to a session without any registration. Then you can make a picture of what's on the table, and then you can start actually write on things that are physically on the table, and that gives us the opportunity to document the process during the process, not just the end result, but actually what have been different considerations of the students. That it gives them an opportunity for more reflection, and in the end, they can just upload everything into the learning management system. So this is our idea of a seamless transformation. They can take that, what they have developed in one space, to another space, of course, easily, if we have more and more of these whiteboards. So you see, it's not all happening in the digital world. A lot of things work very well if you have a haptic experience, but to connect these worlds seamlessly is our goal. We also think about the other way around, think how to bring the digital world into the world, actually physically into the world, by having 3D prints or making intangible things more tangible, by having code blocks that are actually put on the table, and students can collaborate by moving things around and discuss different algorithms. And so we use these spaces for design sprints, more and more for hackathons. We try to make hackathons more integrated into the standard curriculum, so that students have a sprint of 1 week, maybe working until late at night with some pizzas, and then they get credit points for that as well. And of course, our small smartphones, they are really great research tools. You can take them to make interviews, to make notes, to make pictures, and then bring that into the campus onto an interactive wall, so that you can share your observations with other students, and categorize things, and use that for planning and developing based on what you found out in the field research. And this is my final example. I think this is what I hope to see in the future. I think this is a great evening, this conference, and this is when we're opening the campus again. This would be a great opportunity to stream that not only to my desktop, but actually to sit together with students on campus, so that we can see experts from all over the world, and then have the very uh, yeah, a discussion with students that are close to each other, and have the same feeling as we would have on a real conference, with coffee breaks and the social conversations and interactions that we have. So these are some reading tips. I think we will provide the slides, very inspiring books on hybrid learning spaces and creative spaces that we were using to build, to transform the spaces on our campus. So, and of course, if you have great spaces on your campus. As I said, we are on an educational safari, so we are always eager to learn about that, take pictures, and get in touch with you. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share some images from our campus.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for being with us.